So did you know Nokia actually made an Android phone back in 2014? It was way before the HMD comeback that everyone remembers. This is the Nokia X2. It looks exactly like a Lumia, but after spending some time with it, I realized exactly why this thing was doomed from the start. Alright, so I have the original box with me. Flipping it over, you can read the quick specs. Nothing fancy, but it's interesting that they even mentioned the RAM type as DDI2 back then. Let's do a quick unboxing to get the full experience of what it was like. First, we have the charger, and it's actually quite interesting because it has a flat tangle-free cable with a 3-pin adapter, which is pretty unique. Then we have the earphones, the classic big Nokia ones. Honestly, they really hurt my ears. And finally, the 1800 mAh battery. And fun fact, the original battery was completely dead, so this is actually a replacement. Using this phone has also reminded me of one of the downsides of removable batteries. Sometimes the phone would randomly switch off because the battery shifted slightly. The battery could literally pop out and everything would just fall apart. Thankfully, those aren't problems we have with modern phones anymore. This is the minimal Nokia boot screen. I wish they had kept the classic Nokia boot animation instead. Now it's lagging a little right now because it has just finished booting. I've already connected it to my Wi-Fi, inserted my SIM card, and it immediately picked up the network. Now that it's settled down though, it actually feels really smooth. The Windows style tiles instantly give it that Lumia vibe. Now here's the notification panel, taking me right back to the Jelly Bean days. Back then, even Android had a split notification shade, kind of like the iOS versions. Now going to the settings page, again the scrolling feels surprisingly smooth. And here's where things get really interesting. If you open the About Phone section, you'll notice something strange. There is absolutely no mention of Android anywhere. It simply says Nokia X platform when it's actually running the Android 4.3 Jelly Bean. It's pretty crazy, right? And if you have already noticed, there is also no Google Play Store. Imagine buying an Android phone without Google Play services. And even back then, this was heavily criticized and is one of the biggest reasons this phone struggled. In fact, it led to a huge custom ROM community that existed almost entirely to bring the Play Store to this device. Now, to transfer my files, I actually used an app called Zender. If you remember it, you're probably feeling old right now. The app basically created its own Wi-Fi hotspot. You would connect another phone to it and transfer files wirelessly. Back then, Zender and Share It were probably the two most popular ways to share files. Another peculiar thing I noticed was while browsing the web, you can open the Google homepage just fine using the Opera browser. But for some reason, the search results simply don't load anymore. I also tried my favorite old browser, that is the UC browser, and the results was exactly the same. But here's the interesting part, YouTube somehow still works on Opera browser. You can actually browse around, open videos, and stream them without much trouble. The videos play in their own dedicated player. You can control the volume using the physical volume buttons. It also has a gravity sensor so auto rotation works, so you can watch videos in landscape mode. And honestly, the 480p display isn't bad at all. It uses the Nokia's clear back technology, so the blacks look much deeper than you would expect. There's even a glance screen option, which was basically Nokia's version of an always on display. You can actually set it to stay on all the time, although I can't imagine what that would have done to the battery life on an LCD panel. Now coming back to the YouTube Shorts surprisingly worked as well. The only limitation is that you can only watch one at a time because there's no swipe up gesture for the next video. Now let's look at some of the pre-installed apps. We actually get a really fun game called Danger Dash by the legendary Gameloft, and even today it's surprisingly enjoyable to play. Now this is how the recent menu look. There is no clear all button, so you have to close every app manually. One feature which I found interesting is this Nokia Fast Lane. It was kind of a hybrid of your notifications and recent apps. Everything appeared in one timeline, making it really easy to jump back into whatever you were doing. Now let's quickly listen to the classic Nokia ringtone it came with. The speaker is actually pretty loud for a mono speaker, and it doesn't sound that bad. Another interesting feature is the double tap to wake. Well, at least it is supposed to work. For some reason, it just refuses to on this phone. Storage is another limitation. The phone only comes with 4 GB of internal storage, so realistically, you can only install 2 or 3 heavier games. Thankfully, it supports SD card, and on older Androids, you could actually move games to the SD card, which really helps free up some space. Using that, I installed Dead Trigger, one of my favorite mobile games from that era. It's an unlocked version, so I get access to all the weapons right from the start, which makes it even more fun to revisit today. Now, exploring the rest of the pre installed apps almost feels like opening a time capsule. You've got the original Instagram app, Facebook, Skype, and the good old Twitter app. Another surprisingly useful app is Astro File Manager. Back then, stock Android didn't even include a proper file manager, so this was actually a really welcome addition. Then there's the Nokia Mix Radio, Nokia's own music streaming service, which unfortunately no longer works. Thankfully, the built-in music player still works perfectly fine. With the 3.5 headphone jack, it still makes for a pretty decent offline music player, and yes, it even has FM radio, which is always a bonus. And since it's a Nokia, a camera walkthrough is absolutely necessary. The camera app itself has a really clean interface. We get autofocus and an LED flash. Although the flash on this unit doesn't seem to work as well as it used to, even without it though, the pictures still capture a surprising amount of detail for a phone from 2014. Now take a look at these camera samples and let me know what you think. Also, it can record videos up to 720p resolution, and honestly, that's the real tragedy of the Nokia X2. It wasn't a bad phone, in fact, it was surprisingly smooth and packed with features for its time. If Nokia had fully embraced Android while keeping this unique design language, I genuinely think it could have been something special. Instead, the Nokia X series ended up being incredibly short lived. Even today, though, it's just cool to hold this phone. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, don't forget to subscribe because there are plenty more forgotten Nokia phones and retro tech videos coming soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.